I don't listen to the noise because it's irrelevant towards getting your goal done. I get a lot of heat. I get a lot of criticism. People say you're a mean guy, all that stuff. I don't give a shit. It just doesn't matter to me.
Kevin O'Leary.
Businessman, investor, journalist, and TV personality.
But how do I make money?
How much of your Shark Tank character is a persona that you put on for the TV versus real you?
No, that is the real me. I mean, if you know.
You're much nicer.
The thing about business is it's binary. You either make money or you lose it. And so you have to tell the truth. And sometimes the truth is unpleasant. I don't want to invest in your deal because it's a stupid idea. And I think it's going to go to zero, and it probably will if I say that.
That's such a waste of money for something that costs 20 cents. I never buy a frappe latte, blah, 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 woof, 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 for $2.50. That's such a waste of money.
I can walk around with anybody for a day and show you that they're wasting 15% of their money, sometimes 20. Stupid stuff. You know, you go to work, you spend $15 on a sandwich. What are you, an idiot? It costs you 99 cents to make a sandwich at home and bring it with you. You start to add that up every day, it's a ton of money.
I love online shopping, the convenience, the variety, and how easy it is. The credit card rewards are pretty awesome too, and I've discovered a way to double my rewards whenever I shop online with Kudos. Kudos is a free browser extension that helps you earn more whenever you shop online, and it's never been easier to rack up your rewards. For instance, if you usually earn 3% from your credit cards on sites like Booking.com or Sephora, you'll now get 6% back with Kudos. Amazing, right? And there's more. Kudos just launched Maria GPT, their personalized AI-powered assistant that answers all your credit card-related questions. If you're wondering about which credit card has the highest welcome bonus or what hidden benefits your cards have, Maria GPT has the answers. All of this completely free. You could save over $750 per year and start doubling your credit card rewards with Kudos today. Use code ERICA to get Kudos for free by clicking the link in the description or by going to joinkudos.com/Erica. That's code ERICA with a K so that they know I sent you. I'm Erica Kohlberg, and you're listening to the Erica Taught Me podcast. So what do you think has made you so successful? Is there a specific trait that you can point to?
You know, it's a great question. I get it asked all the time. I learned something years ago from a mentor named Jerry Patterson. I've had a lot of influences in my life, and I think mentorship becomes more valuable as time passes. You understand its value. It's lessons learned early. Jerry said to me once, you know, Kevin, if things go well, a lot of stuff is going to be thrown at you. You're going to get a lot of noise. You're going to get a lot of criticism. You're going to get all kinds of stuff from every angle every day. And successful managers are able to focus on the goal and shut all the noise out. I mean, he was so right. And so what I try and do each day is to focus on three things I want to get done. And I've got a lot of different things going on, but each day there's three paramount things. And I don't listen to criticism. I don't care about it. I don't want to be crass. I don't listen to the noise because it's irrelevant towards getting your goal done. And when you achieve your goal, you're helping a lot of other people because you're building a business. That's what I do. I'm an investor. So, you know, I get a lot of heat. I get a lot of criticism. People say you're a mean guy, all that stuff. I don't give a shit. So it just doesn't matter to me. So because of Jerry, he taught me that. You just forget about that because there's more important things that you should focus your energy on.
How do you decide then what is noise versus what is important to focus your energy on?
Well, I have a lot of people I work with, and I have a fantastic team. And we assess our situation every day based on the things that are coming at us as opportunities, things that are, you know, in terms of our portfolio, we have over 50 companies now each day. And this is remarkable. Every day it's a roller coaster. And so I don't let something that sounds catastrophic turn everything off. I mean, that's a bad idea. That's the definition I've come to appreciate as a combination of experience and executional skills that I want everybody in my team to focus on.
Just so we can get a sense of what your day looks like today, what are the three things that you wrote down?
Oh, I'd already knew them from last night. Shot a television commercial in the studio last week, rather remarkable. We're using some very advanced technology for customer acquisition, including QR codes and pixel recognition and all kinds of things. And, you know, when you do something like that, it's half art, half science. And you want to communicate the right message in a 15, a 30, and a 67 commercial. And I used to be an editor way back. I used to be a cameraman with 16 millimeter film and an 8-plate Steenbeck editor. So when I see work, and today I still cut with Premiere Pro as an editor just to get my chops. If I see a jump frame or if I see something in that commercial I don't like, I want to get it fixed because to me, it has to be just perfect. And that's what I've been working on. I got up this morning at, my routine is get up at 5 o'clock, get on the bike as soon as the sun breaks the horizon on the ocean, and then ride for 9 miles, then go to the gym for about 40 minutes. I'm usually, back in the saddle at about 7:45. And then that's what I worked on. And so
Mm.
we've got, because this is going to the network and we're bought a huge multi-million-dollar package of advertising for this. So I'll know by, 2 o'clock that it's done.
How do you balance being a perfectionist, but also realizing that if you're a perfectionist with everything, you're not going to get enough done? So
No,
sometimes
no.
maybe 80% good is better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true. You have to be careful when you say that because when you're involved in financial services, there is no gray zone. Either you make money or you lose it. So sometimes 80% isn't good enough. You've got to make sure that you're doing risk mitigation or whatever else. For me, it's sort of pick the three things. You can't do 20. And that means there'll be a lot of stuff that just goes by the wayside, but it doesn't matter because the hardest work for any entrepreneur is prioritize what is important because that's the real skill of managing is not to waste your time on the garbage and the crap and the noise that's coming at you. Managers that fail are trying to make everybody happy all of the time. That is never going to work. You're never going to make everybody happy. So don't try. Like, don't even bother trying. That's it.
How has what matters to you, the big picture, changed over the years? What matters right now in terms of like the big picture things, and then what mattered 10, 20 years ago in your career?
Yeah, that's a great question because I remember being myopically focused. Somebody told me once, it's impossible to make your first $1 million. And they were right. It was really hard. And then it was impossible to make your first $5 million. And they were right. It was really hard. And then it wasn't so hard anymore. You start to figure out, in your journey, what works and what doesn't. And so I don't need any more money anymore. I'm very fortunate that way. I've had a lot of successes and a lot of failures. What I would like to have is more time. And so my most valuable asset today is how I use my time. And so what I learned along the way was that time is actually your most valuable asset because you either use it wisely or you waste it. That's, you think about a productive day. I work harder today than I ever have. And the whole reason to become an entrepreneur is not about the greed of money. It's about the pursuit of personal freedom. That's what it's about, to be able to do whatever you want with your time, the most valuable asset, your time. So I work with this wonderful woman named Nancy Chung and a whole team of others. We chop up the day into 30-minute blocks. At the end of the day, I review tomorrow. If there's anything I don't want to do, I say, get rid of that. I don't have to do it. And so I wish that success for everybody so that they could enjoy the ability to control your own white space of time.
Mm.
And sometimes I'll just take, a block of time like I did yesterday. The CEO from Lange, a watch company that I really respect, is coming into town. I wanted to go to the boutique to see some of the new models. I jumped in an Uber. I met with the executives, got this fantastic new Odysseus.
Looks
I mean, it's just a
nice.
fantastic watch. And so, there's a new, I'm a watch collector, so I'm really interested in the different brands and what they're doing. And
I'm always on the go, jumping from meeting to meeting and juggling multiple projects. And it's been hard to find a workout routine that I can actually stick to. I've tried gym memberships, classes, but nothing was flexible enough to fit into my lifestyle until I came across Copilot. True to its name, Copilot puts me in the driver's seat when it comes to fitness, but it's always by my side with flexible, expertly crafted workouts, courtesy of my awesome coach. With Copilot, you download the app and you get assigned an expert coach. Mine is amazing. We got on a kickoff call where we talked about everything that I wanted to achieve. The workouts are customized for you, and you can work out at any time at the gym or home, wherever you are. Doing a gentle workout routine at night has helped me relax so much, and it's now a vital part of my fitness routine. My coach never feels far away and makes adjustments to my plan whenever I need, so there's no need for me to miss sessions. Copilot is fitness made easy. If you want to kickstart your health, then visit erica.com/copilot to get a 14-day free trial with your own personal trainer. Again, that's erica.com/copilot. Erica is with a K, Copilot is COPILOT, to kickstart your health plan with a free trial. I'll leave the link in the description so that you can sign up now. When you were talking earlier about how that first million was very difficult and the first 5 million, but then it gets easier, do you think that's because of a snowball effect essentially where your efforts are compounding? Or you think it's that you learned the skills necessary to make that now $10 million, the $50 million?
It's because you have money. Because when you have money, you can take risks. And, when I talk to young entrepreneurs or any of my CEOs, I always say to them, you have to get to a place where you have $5 million in the bank because you can survive the rest of your life no matter what happens and your family. You can take care of a lot of people making 6 or 7% of $5 million. When you make that, you have to set that aside and you don't risk it. And then after that, you can start to take risk capital and put it to work. And as you go down your journey, you start to understand what works and what doesn't. So I put a lot of bets out there, and some of them are wildly successful. Others are catastrophically, huge failures. But luckily, I have more successes than failures. And, sometimes I get a 10x, 100x, 1000x, and that pays for a lot of things. And the only reason I keep working is to buy more watches.
That's a good reason. Can you tell people how you made your first $1 million?
Yeah, a lot of people think it's an overnight success, but soft key software products. I mean, my journey started this way. I wanted to be a photographer or a cinematographer, and I was doing a lot of photography in school. And I said to my father, "I'm going to make this my life." He said, "You'll starve to death. There's so many good photographers you're going to have to compete with. So many good cinematographers. So many great editors. It's very hard to break out." And I said, "Well, gee, you're not being very supportive." He said, "What I'd like you to think about doing is, because you don't know yet, why don't you go and finish school, go into university, finish that, and then get a master's of business so that you have the tool set as an entrepreneur to choose any direction you wish." And that was very good advice because it gave me time to mature a bit and learn the things I needed to know about running a business. And then as soon as I got out, I went back to what I wanted to do. I started a company that made shorts for the original 6 hockey teams for the networks. So, we would run around all week shooting hockey players and coaches and teams in Detroit and Toronto and New York. And then I'd edit it and we send it up to the satellite and it would appear on Saturday hockey games. And that was my first company. And we started producing Don Cherry's Grapevine, which is a format we owned. I didn't even know what a format was, but a format is ownership. It's IP and television. And then another program called The Original 6. Well, in a couple of years, the network started knocking on the door saying, "We want to buy the company." And I said, "This is how it works. This is pretty good." So we sold that, and I started Soft Key Software Products because I'd met a guy named John Freeman who did plotter technology with Osborne Computers, very way back, CPM. And we founded that together, and I sold the software to giant plotter manufacturers because back in those days, you want to do graphs, they did it on a multi-axis plotter, and we had the controlling software. And SoftKey grew into the Learning Company, which was the world's largest educational reference software company. And we sold that one for $4.2 billion. And then I woke up with the founding team in Boston. We were in Cambridge, and I said, "Wow, we're rich. How'd that happen?" We didn't even notice it. I'm not kidding. We just woke up one day and said, "Okay, what do we all do next?" We went right back to work. That's what happened. So we didn't stop. We just kept going. And that was many deals ago. I've had many, many deals since then.
Did that money hitting your bank account change anything about your life?
No, not really. It really didn't. It's not about the greed of capital. You don't need that much to live, to be honest with you. I mean, you start to enjoy certain things, of buying watches and things like that, but it didn't change our lives in any way. Because I'm not really into fast cars and all that stuff. I like a nice house and all of that, but I don't measure someone's value by how rich they are. That means nothing to me. So, people that say, "Oh, I'm really, really rich," I don't give a shit. Like it's how what are you doing with your time to help others succeed? How do you help entrepreneurs? If you have made a lot of money, you should pass it forward. You can afford to invest in other entrepreneurs. You can do a lot of things that you might enjoy, but it never really changed anything. I mean, it won't matter if I quadruple what I've got, It's not going to change anything.
What was your relationship with money like growing up?
My mother gave me all of my lessons on how to manage and have money. She said that you should never, ever spend more than you bring in because otherwise you're going to be in debt. And she was a very wise woman that way. What I learned from her was, and people never do this, even very wealthy people I know don't do this, and I get them to do it and they're shocked at the results. Get a piece of paper. You don't need a computer for this. You just write down over a 90-day period your sources of income, whatever it is, whatever you make. I don't care if you're hustling on the side or you're a waitress or you're, Uber driver, I don't care. That's your income. The other side is what you spent money on in the last 90 days, your rent, food, whatever, whatever you buy. And if they're equal, that's good. But 90% of the time, you're spending more than you make. And you're going into debt, usually on a credit card of 21%. That's what destroys people. They just don't live within their means. So I really focus on that. It's all about how much do I bring in, how much do I spend? What you want to do is save about 20% of your income, put it into the market over a 20, 30-year period. It's going to make 6 to 8% a year, and you're going to retire, even if you have the average salary of $54,000 in America, you'll have $1.5 million in the bank. That's how you have to do it. So my relationship with money has always been about being careful not to waste it. My mother, Georgette, taught me, and this really probably flows into why I buy these watches, don't buy crap. She used to only buy one Chanel jacket a year, but a really good one. She loved Chanel. And when she died, there was a cat fight for her clothing amongst the women in my family because they were now vintage Chanels that were worth way more than what she paid for them. So if most people, you go look in your closet, it's full of crap you don't need. You bought crap that you just don't wear. You wore it once and it's just crap. Don't buy the crap. Buy the good stuff and just buy less of it. And when you look at something, don't buy something that you can't afford. If you can't afford a watch, you should never go into debt for a watch. That's stupid. You should earn a watch. If you have a successful outcome on something, go buy yourself a watch to make that a reminder of that unique situation in your life.
What about for the people who say to you, well, I am budgeting and I'm spending just modestly, but still at the end of the month, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. What's your advice for them?
Stop buying coffee for $5.50. I can walk around with anybody for a day and show you that they're wasting 15% of their money, sometimes 20. Stupid stuff. You go to work, you spend $15 on a sandwich. What are you, an idiot? It costs you 99 cents to make a sandwich at home and bring it with you. So what if you bring it with you? Bring your own water if you have to, or your own drink, or bring your own coffee mug. You start to add that up every day, it's a ton of money. Most people, particularly working in metropolitan cities that are just starting out on their job, making their first $60,000, piss away about $15,000 a year on stupid stuff. And that's what they should stop doing.
What about for the other side of the equation to make more money?
Side hustle, always. Whatever you're doing, these days, there's so many side hustles, just getting social media people to edit this podcast well, just getting people to cut commercials or do all of our social media or tell our stories for our companies or just manage our TikTok accounts for all of our different activities. Those people used to be able to get for $25,000, $30,000 a year. I've got guys working on my team that are servicing us and 2 other companies making $250,000 a year. That's the ultimate side hustle because they're really good at writing. They're good at storytelling. They're good at cinematography. They're good at photography. And that's a skill set that nobody thought you needed 5 years ago, but now everything's social media, including large corporate messaging. So if you have a really good skill set, and we've got a great team. I mean, just this podcast, you're very successful. You have millions of followers. Well, so do I. I'm going to make sure I blow you up on my network and you'll do the same on yours. And we're going to do that together because it's good for both of us. So my team will chop this up. Your team will chop it up. Watch what happens. That's the whole value. That's the equation.
It is true. I feel like with Upwork or Fiverr, anyone that has a skill can just go on and monetize it.
Yeah, why
and
not?
If you don't have it, you can learn it.
But why not? And be flexible. I don't believe in the 9-to-5 job market anymore. None of my team works in an office anymore because they don't want to. We have people working for us all around the world. We somehow are very, very productive, and that's the new economy.
How do you measure productivity within your company?
Project-based. I say, what do we have to get done by Friday at noon? Like that commercial we spent millions of dollars on. When does it have to drop to the networks? 2:00 today. So we're going to get it done. We're going to get all the technology, all the graphics, all the pixelization, all the color correction. It's all going to get done, and we're going to deliver it. Then we're going to move on to the next project. I don't care when you get it done. I don't care if it's 2 a.m. or 8 a.m. There is no 9 to 5. Just get it done by the deadline.
How do you find the talent that works on your team? And then how do you decide whether they're good at their job?
Hiring good talent gets more talent. When you are I hire very slowly and I fire very quickly because I don't want anybody inside our organization that's not moving in the same direction. And everybody knows that. Our team is very tight, and they're all really good at what they do. They respect each other's work. Sure, we have lots of infighting, but that's just natural in a big family like that. But they're all exceptional in terms of their ability to execute. That attracts more people like that. I get thousands of people that want to join us because they know one of my other team members and say, look, I want to be part of your team. And I pay well. I'm not greedy. I make sure that we split up the largesse. When we have a successful, business, we piece it out to everybody. So everybody gets to wet their beak. That's how you keep a team together. At the end of the day, people work to make money. They're not greedy, but they want to be rewarded for their work. And so I try and make that happen. We're not always successful every year, but some years we have fantastic outcomes.
And it's just bonuses that you give out?
Yeah, but it's bonuses or, what I'll often do, we'll get, I get approached a lot to be paid spokesperson for various companies. And usually there's a 15% commission to agents. And what I've said is to a lot of the people I've been working with for decades now, let's parcel it up and give points to everybody that's active in managing this account that has to do work. So if I'm shooting a commercial or if I have to go to a speaking engagement, I have to fly somewhere, who's ever making that happen is part of the success equation. They get a piece, So our advisory business, as I call it, is a big business. We make millions and millions of dollars every year. And I don't do that on my own. I've got a huge team. So I try and piece that out. And so I make sure what do we get involved in? How do we do it? How can we create value? And who gets paid because they worked on it? It's that simple. I recently became an Emirati citizen because I really want to do more work in Abu Dhabi. I think that's going to become the capital of capital in the next 10 years, and I want to be part of it.
A lot of people say that making your first 100,000 is the hardest. What would you say to people who want to go out and make their first 100,000? What's the best path to do that right now?
Saving 15% of your paycheck each week. That's the key. That is really the key. My mother did it back in the 50s. And when she died, she kept that account secret from both of her husbands. She was married twice. And I got called by the executor and said, you got to come down here. I'm the older brother. And I said, what for? We're a middle-class family. He said, no, no, no. Your mother has created an immense amount of wealth here. You got to come down and see what she did. So she bought 50% telco bonds. Back then they were yielding between 6 and 7%. And 50% was in S&P stocks that paid dividends. And she kept that portfolio for 32 years.
Wow.
So it just grew geometrically over time. It was really remarkable. And I learned that way. And that's sort of the way I invest. She never made sure that she had no more than 5% in any one stock and no more than 20% in any one sector, like energy or technology, whatever. So she had a lot of diversification. So if you really want to make $100,000 and do it, relatively quickly, you basically save 15% of your paycheck and put it into an index in the market. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but over time, you generally make 6 to 8%. That compounds. Within 7 years, you'll get to your $100,000.
Is that how you're still investing to this day?
Yeah, that's how I invest. People know me for Shark Tank. Those are highly speculative, very risky investments, and I assume most of them will go to zero. Once in a while, I get a big winner, pays for the mistakes, but the bulk of my money is invested very conservatively in everything from treasury bills to dividend-paying stocks, and a lot of them. So I have diversification. I invest in Europe, I invest in Asia, I invest in North America. And my portfolio pays for I take the dividends and the interest, and that's what I live off. That's the strategy. I never touch the principal.
How do you think the everyday working person should be thinking about portfolio allocation and what percent in stocks, bonds, maybe alternative investments?
Yeah, that's a good question because rates recently went up, then they came back down. They're fibrillating right now. They're going up and down quite a bit because the Fed is raising rates. I used to be 50-50, 50 stocks, 50 bonds, and then I changed it to 60-40 for stocks, and then I went to 70-30 for stocks, and that's where I am right now. I'm still going to stay that way, 30% in fixed income and 70% in dividend-paying, large cap, high-quality stocks. I use ETFs, exchange-traded funds, to do this, and I rebalance every quarter. I mark to market everything every night. Not that that matters. I just do it because I can do it electronically now. And I keep some cash around. And I've told everybody to do this. Make sure your cash is in no more than 20% in any one bank because you never know when the next idiot manager is going to take his bank to zero. So you basically want to So I've got our cash, our operating company cash in 5 banks.
Basically up to the FDIC insured limit.
No, we're past that, but, but I basically say to myself, "Okay, we're not just in Canada or in the United States. We invest in Canada and Europe and Asia as well." So I have banking relationships in Europe, I have banking relationships in Canada and here in the United States. So we have geographic diversity. Now I have currency risk. When I put money in a Canadian bank, it's in Canadian dollars. So I've got that risk of the currency, or the Swiss franc, the British pound, and the euro, and the other banks in Europe. But frankly, that's good diversification too. And and the Canadian banking system is the envy of the world. I mean, that's the most highly regulated banking system, and there's only 5 of them so it's very consolidated, and they've never had problems even during the 2008 period. So, I like to keep some cash up there, and same with Switzerland. Those guys are pretty good, at being conservative in the country itself.
What's something you do with your money now that you wish you would have started in your 20s besides investing?
Yeah, I wish I'd had a better focus on stuff that buy, because I wasted a lot of money when I was young. I bought 50 sneakers. Well, I only wear 3 pair that I like a lot. I bought 20 pairs of jeans. I only wear 2 that I like. And, suits, I've a great lesson because of Shark Tank. I only wear this not Armani, but Prada suit with a white shirt and a black tie. So I have 25 of these. They're all the same. And I keep them in all the places that I film. I've got them in New York. I have them in Miami. I've got them in Los Angeles, and so so I don't have to travel with a whole bunch of clothing. And it's very efficient because I have a tailor, they're tailored by Prada, they're exact size, and they all look the same. It's perfect.
How did that become your signature look?
There was a wardrobe person at Shark Tank set in year 4, and they said, "Look, I think you're the mean one. Why don't we just get you in black?" I said, "Okay, that's fine." And then I went to shoot with Barbara, actually, a Good Morning America segment promoting Shark Tank, and I decided to wear my blue suit with a yellow tie that day. Very striking. I thought it looked terrific. And she said, "Wait a minute, what's that?" I said, "Well, it's what I'm wearing today." She said, "No, you're not. There's something called a Q score that exists in television. People don't like it when they're expecting one thing and they get another." She said, "Go back to the hotel and put on your Shark Tank uniform." I said, "You got to be kidding." She said, "No, I'm not. I don't want to see something that no one's seen before. I want to see you in your Shark Tank outfit." And that was also the year that I went to the Shark Tank set with a watch which had a gold band on it I really liked. And they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, this is my watch for the show." She said, "No, it's not. It's got to have a red band on it. All of the watches you've worn for the last 3 years have had red bands. And when we edit between years, we got to have the red band with the black suit, the white shirt, black tie pin. It's got to be the same for continuity." And that's when the whole red watch band thing started, which is now, in terms of the watch community, pretty legendary story,
Yeah.
because I don't buy watches that I can't put red bands on.
How much of your Shark Tank character is a persona that you put on for the TV versus real you?
No, that is the real me. I mean, if
You're much nicer than
no,
you
but
are
the
on
thing
TV.
is, if we're doing business, the thing about business is it's binary. You either make money or you lose it. And so you have to tell the truth. And sometimes the truth is unpleasant because, I don't want to invest in your deal because it's a stupid idea. And I think it's going to go to zero, and it probably will if I say that. And, I'm pretty good at assessing situations and saying which ones have merit and which don't. And, it's hard to tell somebody who spent 3 years working on something that it's worthless. So I'm not like Barbara, who will say, "Oh, you keep doing what you're doing, isn't that great? But I'm not giving you a dime," which is code for your idea sucks and I don't want to invest in it. No, the only reason, and I love Barbara because we've been working together for 15 years, the only reason she gets the Shark Tank set every year is I buy her a new broom.
She told me you'd say that.
I can't help myself. It's so true, but she jets around on a new broom. I get her the latest version every year.
What's the one company that you regret not investing in?
Well, there's Ring is the legendary one, because I offered Jamie 600,000 and he sold it for 1.1 billion. So I would have made a lot of money on that. But he didn't want debt and I wanted venture debt, which means I was sitting up on the top of the cap table, get my 600,000 back plus a little equity. But we've become pretty close friends. But I don't worry about spilt milk. There's so many opportunities out there, and every season I don't know what's going to come through those doors. I'm just like you. I'm waiting to see what they are. And there's always great opportunities. And so I invest in them, and I always, get enough good ones that make Shark Tank really interesting for me. And I enjoy working with the entrepreneurs.
What are you telling your CEOs to do today given the volatility in the financial markets?
Two things, because this is very important, and this is good information for anybody running a business or even personally. The first thing we did after this blow up, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, is we said, look, we cannot no longer have all of our liquid cash in one bank. We don't know what's going to happen to that bank. Even a big bank, you have no idea. So we decided 20% is the maximum. So if you have $1 million, 20% of that is going to go into one bank, 20% into another, 20% into another. So 5 banks. So we now have 5 banks. That was the first thing. Each company now, and it's not hard to manage because everything's online.
Mhm.
You can do transfers between them as you need it. We just use one for payroll, and we make sure the others are for free cash that we need to operate. So we've been good at that. So we've de-risked that. And the other thing that we've all done is applied for the ERC, which is the Employment Retention Credit, which nobody knows about. Okay. This is something I discovered, and now I'm applying for every one of my companies. And so here's how it works. Back in 2020, if you were operating, most of mine were at that time, and you were paying your employees with W-2s, which is what you do in payroll. If you had employees, if you have more, you need 5 to 500. That's the range that this program works with. Now, the reason you've never heard of it is it came on by the government at the same time that the PPP loan happened. And the PPP loan was administered by your bank. So let's say you were banking your business at Bank of America. You just called up the bank and they applied for the loan for you. Well, that's not how the ERC, the Employment Retention Credit, works. You got to fill it out yourself, and it's a 170-page program. So it's really complicated. At the beginning, if you took the PPP, it meant you could not apply for the ERC, and that's what everybody assumed. But the law changed in early 2021, allowing you, because the pandemic got so bad,
Mhm.
allowing you to have both. So companies that think that they can't even get it don't even know they can. And so the government's got over 250 billion allocated to this, and they've only given away 9 or 10 of it so far. It's not a loan, it's cash. It's a one-time cash check that you get from the government to apply for your business. It gets you get about $26,000 per employee. And so what you have to do is A, know about it, and B, then apply. So what I've done, because I've actually become a paid spokesperson for the program. It's so important to all businesses. I've set up a site called wondertrust.com where you can go book an appointment with an expert, talk to them for 5 minutes, find out if you can qualify. And my guess is, even though you think you can't, you can if you run a business or had a business back then. And then we'll run the application for you. We don't charge you anything until you get your check, and you pay for how much accountant's time you use, because you got to pay the accountants.
Mhm.
So this costs money, but it's what you get as a check first. There's no upfront fee. And we actually watch it being processed by the IRS for you. It takes about 4 months. So I tell everybody, I'm just top of a mountain yelling out, you've got to apply for this because it runs out in 23 months. It's called the ERC program, the Employment Retention Credit Program. You can get it at wondertrust.com.
Okay, perfect.
That's the shout out.
Wondertrust.com.
Yeah.
Love it. What else should small business owners and entrepreneurs be thinking about in terms of being efficient and understanding the laws that are out there to help them that they may not be utilizing?
One thing they should realize now, that the cost of capital just in the last 2 months has become far more expensive. And so it's going to be a lot harder to raise money going forward. Very, very difficult. I think venture capitalists are going to focus on their existing portfolios and try and keep the companies they have going. I'm not sure they're going to make a lot of new investments the same way they did in the past. I would be a penny pincher if I was running a business, and what's going to matter the most is how you preserve cash. Cash is hard to come by. So I wouldn't squander it. I wouldn't waste it. And I say that to you if you're an entrepreneur or just an individual, whether you're working for somebody else or working for yourself, cash is king.
Do you have any other small business entrepreneur related tips that we can go into?
The other piece of advice I would give to every small business is what I've learned with my portfolio. The number one feature that we have worked so hard on since the pandemic started for the last 3 years is customer acquisition, and the importance of social media, the importance of telling your story, the importance of getting a direct account relationship with a customer, because pre-pandemic, more than half our sales went through retail. Now half our sales are going direct to consumer. So direct consumer models are everything. Who's running your social? Who's telling the story? Who's writing the copy? Who's photographing the products? Who's maintaining the website? Who's doing all of that? Because that is really what differentiates a successful small business from a failure. It's really understanding the power of social media. So when I look at my portfolio, the ones that have really thrived were fantastic at telling stories and great at designing websites and really providing terrific customer service and support. Those are the things that matter. So it's not just a great product. Building the best mousetrap doesn't do it. It's communicating the story of the mousetrap that makes it work. And that's really what this is about.
When you're working with your social team to craft your story, what is your story? What do you want people to think of when they think of Kevin O'Leary?
Well, I try and be just honest and just see it the way I see it. And sometimes it's a message that people like, sometimes they don't like it. I go back to the way we started our conversation. I have a lot of critics, and there's a lot of people that just blast me on social media for various things. It's not that I don't care, but I actually don't care. Like, so it doesn't affect what I do in the morning. Like, I just keep doing what I do, and I don't, it's fair to criticize. I have no problem. I'm certainly an open critic, and I've been very critical of this banking policy of late. I'm a real critic because I don't agree with it, but I'm just one voice. You can agree with me. You don't have to. It's sort of, I just want to put my opinion out there to the extent that it helps you think about it. Then I've done my job. Whether you agree with me or not, doesn't matter. What matters is that you consider the idea. I respect everybody's idea. I want to hear why it has merit. I'm happy to let them tell me why they think it has merit. I'm very interested to be a student of new ideas because I know that's very valuable. And I don't criticize people for having ideas that are different than mine, but I don't have to execute on them. If I don't like them, I don't use them. It's that simple, but that's my prerogative. And that's the open discourse we should have as a society. You should present ideas, present concepts, present your views, and then let the market absorb it. Either people agree or they won't. But you can't change people's minds if they don't want their minds changed. And you can't make everybody like you. So why do you try? This is the biggest mistake people do with their time is saying, oh my goodness, people don't like me or they don't like me on social media. Or they're criticizing a post I made. Who gives a shit? Like, why do you care? There's millions of people out there. Some will agree, some won't. Don't worry about it. Just stay true to yourself.
Have you always been like that, or do you think you've developed thicker skin? Because I'm quite new to social media, and I feel like it does impact me, and I am still very sensitive to the negative comments.
I think I've always been this way. To me, the most important person that I have to deal with every day is myself. And if I don't like what I've done all day long when I'm going to bed, then I'm failing. If I look at my day, I said, everything I did today, I'm pretty happy with. That's good. And if some people don't like it, okay, so what? How can you possibly make millions of people happy? It's impossible. So why would you spend a second of your time worrying about it? Like, I just don't even think about it. It doesn't cross my mind. And sometimes my wife or my daughter or my son will say to me, look at this guy on social media, he's blasting you. I say, the very fact that he spent the time to write those 3 paragraphs, no matter what they are, that I have to respect that. That's a lot of time. Like, sitting there typing all that hate mail and all. I mean, wow, I'm impressed. Maybe the message isn't so great, but who cares? You got to respect the guy's time.
Yeah. So we have a closing tradition. This is the final question. Our closing tradition is the podcast is called Erica Taught Me, but really today is all about Kevin Taught Me. So what do you want people to walk away from this podcast being able to say, Kevin O'Leary taught me this?
I would want them, I'm going to paraphrase it. Kevin O'Leary taught me to always tell the truth because then I'll never have to remember what I said. That is exactly what I want people to walk away with.
Incredible.
And get your ERC credit.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing this.
You got it.
If you've enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to leave a review. It really helps support what we're doing. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday on a brand new episode of Erica Taught Me.